start with the start to be clear. Start with DHS funding and contention. But then you advance. This is not the end of the world. This is bipartisan, something like that to start.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Shamefully, the Democrats have put us into another government shutdown. This is day 25 of the shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security. We have tried repeatedly to engage them on a path forward. The White House has attempted to do that. By the way, the White House submitted their last offer to the Democrats 12 days ago. 12 days ago, no response. And so, here we are with important agencies of government that have vital national security and homeland security roles, people not getting paid. You're starting to see the lines at the airports because TSA employees aren't getting paid. Obviously, cybersecurity falls under the jurisdiction of the Department of Homeland Security, border security. You can go right down the list. FEMA, these are agencies that have a profound impact on the safety and security of the American people. And the Democrats have opted to, in the most cynical way, play politics. I mean, how much more cynical can you get than to play politics with issues that affect homeland security? But that seems to be where they are. Obviously, we're going to do everything we can to continue to make the case that we need to get DHS opened up. In fact, Senator Britt last week offered a couple different times unanimous consent requests to fund that department and those agencies and to allow additional time for discussion with the Democrats so we could at least get into the negotiation. And they resisted that as well. So every attempt that we have made to sit down and try and get this Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill across the finish line has been rebuffed by the Democrats with prejudice. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how you can sustain that position or defend that position in light of everything that's going on in the world and the dangerous situation the United States finds itself in. But I want to hand it off now to Senator Britt, who chairs the subcommittee on appropriations that has jurisdiction over the Department of Homeland Security, and let her share her thoughts and observations with you. Katie.
Thank you, Leader Thune. It's a disappointing day. We are 38, 39 days past when we decided we would do a 2-week CR, which we gave the Democrats in good faith to be able to have a conversation about the proper way to fund the Department of Homeland Security moving forward. We are now 24, 25 days into a government shutdown with a department that is actually charged with keeping Americans safe. We have seen what's happening across our country. We also know that there is the ability to have increased threats. And the agency, whether it be Coast Guard, TSA, CISA, Secret Service, CBP, and ICE have gone unfunded. This is reckless, and it's disingenuous. Here they are telling you they want to see reforms. But I am here to tell you that they have not come to the table. Despite countless offers to sit down and try to find a pathway forward, they will not even have a conversation with us. So you are 38, 39 days past when we decided this pathway forward and agreed to them to work on this, and they have not sat down one time. Folks, that means that this is all about politics. It was never about people. We stand here ready to put the safety of Americans in front of that, and I would hope our Democratic colleagues would do the same. But at the very least, they must answer for that. Not being willing to have a conversation, not being willing to figure out a pathway forward. We certainly are. We stand ready to do that. We stand ready to do what's right for the American people.
Questions for Senator Britt?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's great. There you go.
You explained it really well.
So good.
Leader Thune, do you run a risk of being on the wrong side of President Trump in your resistance to do this talking filibuster, tying the Senate in knots for weeks?
We don't have the votes either to proceed, get on a talking filibuster, nor to sustain one if we got on it. But that is just a function of math. And there isn't anything I can do about that. I mean, I understand the President's got a passion to see this issue addressed, as we all do.
Does he understand that, though?
Well, we've conveyed that to him, but we will continue to make that argument because I think it's important that everybody understand that this really is about, it's about the votes, it's about the math. And I'm for better or worse, I'm the one who has to be the clear-eyed realist about what we can achieve here. And so we'll continue to convey that. And I think that we're going to have the fight on the floor. We're going to vote on this. We're going to put it up, and we'll give the Democrats the opportunity to cast their vote on whether or not they think non-citizens ought to vote in American elections. And so that debate will happen. But like I said, I can guarantee the debate. I can guarantee a vote. I just can't guarantee an outcome.
When can we expect?
President Trump told me yesterday that it would take Democratic votes to pass the Save America Act. Do you think the MAGA base has an unrealistic expectation of passing that legislation without Democrat support?
I think there are a lot of optimistic views about what Democrats may or may not do. We all know, because we deal with them every day, that the Democrats are not all of a sudden going to decide that this is something they want to be for. So yeah, again, I mean, I think you have a lot of optimists out there, and I appreciate that, and a lot of passion and energy behind getting an outcome here. But getting an outcome would require Democrat votes, and you know, we'll give them a chance. Like I said, they'll have that opportunity to vote one way or the other on this. But I would be very, very surprised.
Does it make it more difficult that the president keeps adding pieces of policy to this legislation? Would it be better if you just had a straight up or down vote on photo ID or citizenship, for instance?
We certainly want to vote on the issues that came over from the House. The president has since that time added some additional components to his request, which we will figure out a way to get votes on as well. But obviously, I think the core issue with respect to the Save America Act is ensuring that non-citizens aren't voting in American elections, that only citizens are voting in our elections, and that they have to be citizens to register to vote, and they have to be citizens to vote.
Based on what you said about the political nature of this debate, it seems like you're caught between the two big issues of keeping the government funding, DHS, and dealing with the voting issue in SAVE. Do you feel that at this point you may have reached a legislative stalemate in this body where it's very hard to get anything done? And then what happens to other bills down the line that may be in the queue soon that have less profile, like the Farm Bill?
I think a lot of these are going to be, I mean, we're going to have a vote on the floor later today, and we will wrap up this week the Road to Housing Act, which will get, hopefully, close to 90 votes on the floor of the Senate. So very bipartisan, very bicameral. Both House and Senate, Republicans and Democrats had input into it. There are issues, I think, that transcend the political climate environment we're in. But I think it's a reality that we all deal with, and the issue of DHS funding, in my view, is should be a reflection of the fact that we can do basic things around here that help our government to function. And I think both sides, Republicans and Democrats of our constituents out there, believe that should be the case. Because the Democrats have dug in on this, I think we have tried repeatedly, as has been said, to reach out to them, to engage them, get them at the table, and to find out what it is exactly that they want. And I think the White House has been very, in my view, open, and have demonstrated a lot of outreach in an attempt to try and get a deal. But what that means down the road, I don't know. I mean, farm bills in the past have been bipartisan. There are other issues that I think should be bipartisan. There are some really good conversations happening right now on permitting reform, which frankly is an issue that I think there should be bipartisan support for as well. So we're not closing the door on anything. The Democrats, their obstinance on the issue of funding the government, like I said, it's hard for me to understand or explain because we've got a very willing team here that's ready to sit down and negotiate with them. And as of right now, at least, they're just completely blocking it. And at some point, you're going to pay a price for that.
President Trump $900 million a day by one estimate. What do you say to Americans who feel that money could be better spent on other priorities? And do you have any update on the size of potential supplemental appropriations request from the White House?
The question was on the amount being spent on the military. Okay. Well, $900 million in a day is a significant number, but fortunately, a lot of us in anticipation of the need to upgrade our national security capabilities last summer, as part of the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, put significant increase in funding for defense. And so I think we are well positioned. If you listen to our military leadership, we get an opportunity on a regular basis to get briefed by General Kane and others. And I think we are in a good place in achieving an objective that frankly is long overdue. I mean, I think this is something that is generational in terms of its impact, and not only for that region but for the entire world, because they continued, Iran, to be the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. They are on their way to a nuclear capability, and they're holding that entire region hostage, and American interests as well. So I think this was an important mission to accomplish, and hopefully it'll be accomplished soon.
Thank you all. Senator Britt, what's your concern about a terrorism strike, Senator Britt, with this unfunding? Senator Britt? No, ranked choice. Kevin. And then also
All right. Where is Mr. Bryan? Here he is. Okay, thank you, everybody. And happy to be joined by Senator Schatz. Now, Trump's explanation about his war in Iran grows more confusing and more contradictory every hour. Yesterday, hey folks, can we have a little quiet? Trump's explanation about his war, as I say, grows more confusing, more contradictory every hour almost. Yesterday, Trump casually claimed, "I think the war is very complete," pretty much. But this morning, Hegseth stood before the cameras and announced that today will be the most intense day of strikes yet, involving, quote, "the most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes," unquote. Which is it? Is the war ending soon, or are we on the brink of the worst fighting yet? Donald Trump's a liar. He claims that Iranian Tomahawk missiles were responsible for the bombing of an all-girls school that unfortunately killed 170 people, many of them children. Iran doesn't have Tomahawk missiles. The claim is beyond asinine. It's just an outright lie. The president can't just talk off the top of his head on something as formidable as this. The President of the United States is spreading blatant lies about a war he started. This is war. American troops are in harm's way. Billions are being spent overseas when there are such desperate needs here at home to lower costs. Yet the administration still cannot explain a clear strategy or an endgame. That's why today I joined with my colleagues Senator Reid and Shaheen and called on the Senate to halt the Trump administration officials. Who we got there? Now from voices it goes to music. Anything to thwart my wonderful remarks. Anyway, I joined today with Senators Reid and Shaheen and called on the Senate to hold Trump administration officials, Rubio, Hegseth, and the rest, to come and answer for their failures and explain to the American people what the hell is going on. That's what people are asking in drugstores and bowling alleys and office buildings. What is going on? No one can understand it from what the Trump administration and Trump himself are saying. Trump doesn't care about being honest and direct with the American people. He doesn't care about the soldiers he's putting in harm's way. He doesn't care about the billions we're spending while Americans struggle to make ends meet. He can't articulate a plan or a vision because he has neither. No plan, no vision, and we're at war. The American people are tired of the chaos. They're tired of the lies. On to another Trump administration failure, the Department of Homeland Security. We're in the 4th week of a DHS shutdown because Republicans refuse to enact common sense reforms to ICE and CBP to protect the rights of the American public. What we're asking for is very, very simple. The same thing police officers and sheriffs do throughout America. We have 3 clear objectives to rein in ICE. 1, stop these roving patrols. 2, enforcement and accountability. 3, no more secret police. Cameras on, masks off. They're common sense reforms. The overwhelming majority of Americans back them. They know you don't bust into someone's house without a warrant. They know that police should not have masks. But the Republicans have refused, Trump has refused to engage in a serious way in negotiations to these core areas. Instead, you see them trying to blame Democrats for long TSA screening lines at the airports. Well, yes, last week, Thursday, we gave them a chance to fund TSA and other DHS agencies last week. And last week, Senate Republicans, led by Senator Britt, blocked Senator Murray's attempt to pass the bill through UC, through unanimous consent. It funded the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, CISA. It funded TSA. It funded FEMA and other important DSA functions. Republicans refused to fund TSA, FEMA, and CISA. And why? To protect ICE, not to protect Americans. It's wrong. Republicans need to get serious. And now, Senator Schatz.
One of the things that surprised me on Monday was the number of Senate Republicans that were not aware that we went to the floor and said, why don't we narrow the scope of our disagreement all the way down to the one agency that we're fighting about? What is the reason for holding TSA hostage? What is the reason for defunding the Coast Guard? What is the reason for defunding FEMA or CISA? And so we went to the floor and said, we are in a deep disagreement, but an ongoing negotiation about ICE and CBP. And so let's narrow it to just that and fund the rest of the government. And it was blocked by Senate Republicans. And so if they would like to open any of these agencies, they should walk onto the floor and offer unanimous consent to open the Coast Guard, to open TSA, to fund FEMA, to fund CISA, and I guarantee you there will not be a Democratic objector. It is the Republicans that are blocking the reopening of these critical agencies. It is true that we are still far apart on the question of ICE. It is also true that there is no reason at all to hold TSA or the Coast Guard or FEMA hostage while our negotiations continue.
Thank you. Oh, golly. The lady in the yellow dress.
You've called for public hearings on the Iran war. Are there any negotiations with chairs of the committees to get public hearings on any of these issues? And what are you prepared to do?
Our chairs have asked for these hearings, but it's not just our chairs. It's not just Shaheen and Reid and Schumer. The American people want it. You're going to war and you can't even tell the American people what you're doing. You can't face questions, serious questions that make you that force you to think this through, which they obviously aren't doing. So of course we should have them. Of course, yes.
Senator Bridges told us that they have offered to sit down with Democrats and the White House, and that Democrats said no.
Okay, that's a lot of bull. Ask Patty Murray. It's a lot of bull. And second, we are constantly in communication with the White House. It's not that there's a lack of means of communication. We're sending things back and forth. It's a substantive problem. The White House will not budge on things that Americans want, like warrants, like demasking, plain and simple. So to put up this subterfuge, oh, it's the means of communication, bull. Ask Patty what happened. Yes.
Thanks. Liam Cosgrove with Zero Hedge. 31 of your Democrat colleagues signed a letter regarding the Philadelphia American citizen who was murdered in the West Bank by Israelis. This is the 9th since 2022 murdered there. Why did you not sign that letter?
I will have to, I haven't seen that letter.
Leader
Leader
Schumer.
Schumer.
Yes.
It was a month ago.
Leader Schumer, what is your concern about a terrorism strike if DHS is not funded and the risks that poses to the United States?
Look, there's plenty of money to fund CISA on its own, but very simply, if the Republicans are concerned about risk, pass, just by unanimous consent, pass what we put on the floor, which would have funded CISA. Easy, plain and simple. So don't ask us, ask them why they blocked it. Yes.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. You recently responded to President Trump's Truth Social post regarding the Save America Act, saying that if he's going to not sign any bill until it's passed, because the Senate's going to be in a total gridlock. Can you just explain, isn't this sort of a stab in the back to the American people who 85% of them, 85% of voters support voter ID?
Yes, but their bill isn't voter ID, number one. It is about voter registration. It makes it allows ICE to kick tens of millions of people off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, you're not registered anymore, you're not registered here, you're not on the rolls. And they say, I didn't know that. This is a bill that destroys the country, and it is not about showing ID when you show up to vote. It's about the voter registration rolls, destroying them, purging them, not letting people know, and taking the rights in a algorithm put together by ICE, put together by Doge and Musk. It's an outrage, and that's why so many people don't want to pass it. Yes, 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 yes.
Can you comment on the implications for women, that bill?
Yes. If a woman changes her name, and you want to go first, to go register again once you're kicked off the rolls and you have no way of knowing, only 5% of people register in person, you need a passport or your original birth certificate. If you have a new name, you're a woman, you change your name, no good. It's an outrageous bill, and we're going to fight it tooth and nail. Last one.
Leader Schumer, I want to ask you, you have made it clear that replacing no with Mullen is just a page at the top. Are Democrats going to be united against voting for Mullen, a colleague?
Look, the rot in ICE is deep. It's not one person. It goes deep within it. And what we need is not changing the personnel, but changing the law. That's what Democrats are for.
So everybody's going to be opting supplemental appropriation request on our line?
Leader Schumer, you're expecting graduates